Welcome to the second segment of Soni Irabor Live tonight. And we have Dr. Soni Irabor. Well, we say it for the ease of pronunciation. Dr. Irabor, you're welcome to the program. And how was your trip to Nigeria? I was hoping you would be with us in the studio. I didn't know you were back in the UK. How are you?
Yeah, just breezed in and breezed out. Apologies for that.
That's good.
I'm fine.
Well, give me a little bit about yourself properly so that we can have it in proper context. You are... Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm an academic, a researcher, a public commentator, analyst on national and global issues, with several publications, spanning business, governance, and leadership. I hope that pen picture will be okay.
That's a beautiful summary, I must say. Right. How are your students seeing you? Must see you as a firebrand of sort.
I wish. I'm giving them, some, run around. They have to study and they have to produce good work at the end of each semester.
Okay, so let's look at the Nigerian situation. You just came into Nigeria and you went back so briefly, but I'm sure you saw things. They were not the way they were when you first came some time ago. How do you see Nigeria today?
That's it's a very loaded question. And each time I visit Nigeria, and I haven't lived in Nigeria in the early part of my life, schooled in Nigeria up to first degree level at the University of Benin before I moved abroad. I still see Nigeria as a land with unfulfilled potentials. We used to use the word sleeping giant, but I don't know if I'm going to go beyond sleep now, but...
We're no longer sleeping.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go something deeper than sleep. You are the expert communicator, so maybe you will help, with that. So that is the way it is. But the country has not met its, the endowment of Nigeria, commensurate to what is obtainable. It's not measurable at all.
Now, we are dealing with a situation we're trying to come to terms with. The ordinary man in the street, the food stuff in the market, neither here nor there for anybody anymore. The Naira cannot take us home, as they used to say. Say your take-home pay cannot take you home. Common food stuff has become very difficult to, afford. And the cost of the minimum wage, they call it minimum wage, should be minimum salary, is 62,000 Naira. They said the governors cannot afford it. How do you look at all of these things? And what do you think is the way forward?
Yeah, I think what has happened in Nigeria in the last couple of years is the fact that there's been this systemic failure and on the part of the leadership, and then to some extent, little extent, also on the part of the followership as well. But I'll put the bulk more on the leadership. The country, has been so reliant on just one product. Nigeria has been practicing a monolithic economy now for the past nearly 50 years, and no nation can survive. So it has always been on paper, diversification of the economy. Those days when we used to listen to national budget on January 1st, each year, especially in the days of the military. So the Nigerian economy has been more of consumption, importation. And this is what has landed us to where we are today. And to make matters worse, our economy now took a further nosedive when we began wholesale importation of refined petroleum products. So the national economy has been bleeding, and the political elite, I was just listening to the last interview you had with Senator Shehu Sani. The political elite have been living in a bubble. They are flexing and enjoying our Commonwealth, while majority of the citizens are in squalor and abject poverty. Remember, just before the last election, the National Bureau of Statistics, the statutory body that is responsible for our economic database, they did say that about 133 million Nigerians are living below the poverty level. And if we extrapolate and say that the population of Nigeria is 200 million, then that means that close to 67, 68% of Nigerians are in poverty. So, and that accounts for the level of crime, the level of social dysfunction, and all the evils you find in our society today. I'm not justifying all that, but when a society gets to that level, it becomes an animal race kingdom, and it becomes the one we call survival of the fittest. And that is what we have in Nigeria today. That even every sector, people just want to grab whatever they can grab. They want to take whatever they want to take. And corruption is at every level in the country.
Where's the rule of law in all of this? Can the rule of law even equate anything?
Yeah, so even the rule of law becomes circumspect, because even those in the temple of justice, they come from the society as well. Society breeds them. So they too, they have also been caught up in the cycle. So you find out that everything now is just revolving us around who, is the highest bidder. So things happen for the highest bidder. The very wealthy in society, they get away with a lot of things. And those that are at the rung of the ladder, they just get punished. I always say this quotation. I can't really remember the author of this. And he said, no country can progress if its politics is more profitable than its industry. So that is where Nigeria is. So everybody now wants to be involved in politics, because you get into a political position and within a year or two, you start living large, buying estate in choice locations, flying around in the best private jet. And even when they have a headache or they have typhoid fever, they fly abroad to Europe, to America, and to India for their medical checkup. And most of these things are not available for the majority of the citizens. For me, governance, has to be about, the happiness of the majority and not just a few people. So the rule of law must set in, and everyone must be subject to the law. There should be no sacred cows. So until we get there, we'll find out that society will continue to be an unequal place, and that is not good for national development.
You made that there are three key factors that came out from what you said since you joined us. One that bothers me most is the fact that we are not producing. And if we don't produce, we cannot make enough revenue. Can you speak to that a bit more?
Yeah, so when I say we're not producing, what we have tended to do in Nigeria is that we import. Recently I was doing some study with some people, and we found out that it was just a little study on water production. And the gentleman I was talking to in Nigeria doing that research said something that, he said, sir, do you know that even the nylon that we use to, wrap this water, he said they come from China. So I was really taken aback, because I didn't even know that was the case. So across the value chain, I hear
even toothpicks too, toothpicks.
Exactly. So across the value chain, you find out that even the things that we think we are producing, they still come from Europe, from China, and even from other parts of the world. Fabrics, clothes, a lot of Turkish production, they come to Nigeria, our people wear it. From Vietnam, our people wear these things. So, but these things, to be honest, we should be able to produce them right in Nigeria. So if you look at the number of vehicles in Nigeria with the population we have, and then you now reason that all these vehicles, they are coming from Japan, from South Korea, from Germany, from the US, from UK. So we are not producing. Then you look at food. we're also importing food, although insecurity has not added to that burden as well. So I think what the Nigerian government should be thinking about is we need to, really sit down and look at our area of comparative advantage. And I believe that apart from this crude oil, which is a natural resource that will be exhausted one day, Nigeria should begin to look at agriculture. We should begin to look at technology as other sources of, generating revenue and production and getting our vast army of young people engaged. So if we don't do that, I'm afraid we may be heading for the abyss.
There's something, again, I must draw your mind to. To you, you're a Nigerian in the diaspora. So to us, you're a brain that has been drained out of us. So how do you now look at, you see, there are so many Nigerians like you who are in very key positions, enviable positions in different parts of the world. And they have they're doing very well, and they're being credited for it. How can we, therefore, keep this Japa syndrome, control it back in Nigeria so that they don't keep going away? What do you advise the government to do?
Yeah, thank you for that question. When it comes to the issue of, Japa syndrome, migration, as far as Nigeria is concerned, I always say this, but people, they used to challenge me on this. It is a good thing, and I'll tell you the reason why. Egypt, Pakistan, even India, they had this same problem. Even our neighbors, the Ghanaians, they had the same issue, this Japa issue, although they may not have used the Japa coloration as at that time, when they were all, emigrating to Nigeria in the late 70s and early 80s. They had it. So, but what these other countries have done is that they were able to, attract these citizens of theirs back to their country. And I think that is the way we have to go. I must tell you, a lot of Nigerians in the diaspora, including the one speaking to you right now, we want to be back in Nigeria. That's the truth. And I say this without any air of equivocation. We want to be back in Nigeria because, like it is often said, east or west, home is the best. So the Indians have done it. It is the Indian diaspora that have developed that nation. Pakistan, the same thing. And I also mentioned Egypt. So apart from remittances that come from the diaspora, we want, because a lot of diasporans, both vocationally and professionally, have a lot of skills. And look, it has always been said that traveling is part of education. When you leave your comfort zone and then you go to another climb, and then you're able to survive there. So you have built, some elements, extra layers for yourself in all aspects of life. So the Japa thing in itself is not a bad thing. If, as people are going, people are returning. For somebody like me who have been here now, for many, many years, you get to that stage, you reach your saturation point and you say you want to go back. So that happens, and then new ones come, and then the ones that have been in the diaspora, they go back. This is what has happened in Egypt, even in Kenya. So the diaspora have helped to develop their society. So, but in Nigeria, I think what is really, pushing away most of our diaspora is the information that they hear. Like you said, I just visited Nigeria. When I was coming, people were telling me, oh, you did go to Nigeria, in Pigeon Palace. And I'm like, what do you mean? So, and I was in Nigeria, and I was moving around and all that. And I was able to see firsthand, talk to people, ask questions, feel the pulse of the people. Because many of us in the diaspora actually want to be in Nigeria. So, but when you say this, people will say, okay, you come and do it. I say, look, some of these things, they are direct involvement, they are indirect involvement. So the world as it is now has become a global village. So wherever anybody is, you can actually make impact. And I always say this, you don't have to be in politics to impact, your nation. So everybody is important, whether you are an electrician, a plumber, an academic or whatever you are. medical practitioner, we all have things to contribute to our fatherland, or motherland, as we will say according to the old but not the new national anthem.
Dr. Tony Agbons, thank you so much for this very brief but very insightful, analysis and your thoughts. Because we always say, come what way. You said, home is the best. Is that what you said?
Yes, good. East or west.
East or west, home is the best. So yes. Don't forget us. But we won't forget you. We'll make the best of it. So thank you so much for giving us your time. My time is up, and we have to round off now. And God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
So it's been Soni Irabor live with Senator Shehu Sani and Dr. Tony Agbons. Shehu Sani in Abuja and Dr. Tony Agbons in UK. Well, we will continue to do all of these things for all of us to understand that the way forward is to ensure that we make the best of it. In Nigeria survive. Thank you very much. Good night.